What's up, everybody? Today we're going to watch a video titled Bobby Lee is Much Worse Than You Think. All right, let's jump right in. Testing audio. Okay, good.
Bobby Lee has been coming under a lot of fire recently, and it's hard to argue with some of the things being said about him. He's being called everything from creepy to disgusting as more and more clips of him from the past are being shared online. It began...
By the way, here's the YouTube channel to give the credit where it's due. Right there. Bam.
In May 2024, when George Janko claimed he was sexually harassed by him in a deleted segment of an Impulsive podcast. Since then, many have been taking a closer look at Bobby, and you might not like what they found. Bobby Lee is a comedian, actor, and podcaster who's one of the main hosts of two extremely popular podcasts, Tiger Belly and Bad Friends. He's been in the industry a very long time, coming up with guys like Rogan all the way back in his comedy shop days. His path to where he is now wasn't a smooth one, as he had a tough upbringing and has battled with addiction, but he's very talented, and through hard work he became successful and well known. For comics who've been around as long as he has, it's common to have had at least one controversy or scandal, and Bobby is no exception. Nowadays, if someone in the public eye does something controversial, it doesn't take long for people on the internet to dig up similar stories from their past. Often it requires some effort and investigation to find these things, but in Bobby's case, you don't have to look far. There are numerous videos on YouTube showing him inappropriately touching people who clearly feel uncomfortable. For example, in one comedy show he did back in 2013, he approached one man in the crowd and tricked him into touching his crotch.
That's all muscle, that's one muscle. It's very soft, fucker. Touch it, come here, touch it. Right here, okay?
That's not
I
funny.
trick you!
That's not funny.
I sneaky!
The guy didn't look very happy, but there's not much he could have done. He wasn't exactly going to pick a fight with Bobby while he was on stage. Maybe you could see this as a funny gag and give Bobby a pass here, but when you see some of the clips from Bobby's morning TV appearances, his behavior becomes much harder to justify. There are literally compilations out there of him creeping on the women on these shows, and it's pretty shocking when you see the kinds of things he was doing.
It's not rude. I requested it. I called my agent. I want to sit next to you. Come on, good to see you. Because you were on paternity leave last night, right? It's good to see you.
Ew, I love sneaky laugh.
I lived in Europe for a while. That's how we can.
No, that's not
Your
good.
humor is a little self-deprecating.
And you know that lady probably has a fucking husband, and of course the husband is pissed off at that shit. What? I don't like that.
Really?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
A little bit. Is that kind of your shtick?
Well, you guys are genetically, won the genetic lottery. You guys are beautiful people.
Oh, that's very nice.
And I'm shaped like a scallop. So I have to do what I can, you know what I mean? I'm like a fatter Pikachu. You know?
Ew, you nasty.
Fatter Pikachu.
Kissed her on the neck.
oh, it's like in the
A little sneak
neck.
attack, you know?
How many times have we worked together?
Yes.
Twice!
No.
And I haven't seen you in like 5 years.
It's been less than 5 years.
Just give me a kiss real quick. Just give me a kiss real quick. So every time I'm on the show, I should kiss an audience member. Yeah. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna?
Ew.
All right, so we
Ew.
never know exactly what our next guest is going to do when he kind
Like
of
an
roars
evil
through our
little
studio.
mischievous laugh.
You know Bobby
Like a
Lee from Mad
sneaky little-
TV. Harold and Kumar go to White
sneaky
Castle.
little evil
And this
laugh.
weekend he'll be in the Chicago area at the Improv to make audiences laugh. It is a friend of the show. He can never quite get on this couch gracefully.
Good morning.
It's the one and only Bobby Lee.
How are you, ladies?
Yay.
Clap, everybody clap. I need it.
The fact these women were on live TV definitely put them in a tough spot. If the cameras weren't rolling, they might have reacted very differently. But in those situations, there's pressure to go along with things to keep the vibe lighthearted and fun. Bobby, whether this was calculated or not, was able to invade these women's personal space because of this. And of course, if anyone got annoyed or raised an issue, he'd always have the get out of jail free card of it's comedy. As many of these interviews went on, you could see the women get more and more uncomfortable, with some turning away every time he got close to them, or even getting out of their seats to get away.
You don't feel good? You want me to do it again? What am I? What? Where are you going?
Do not kiss my ankle, my ankle bone.
Sorry, come back. Everything's fine. Everything's fine, everybody. Everything's fine. Come back. I won't assault you anymore.
No, I don't trust you.
Why?
Because I can see you
From a
jumping
mile
on
away,
me
and I see you too. I see you too.
No one can see if I'd shaved or didn't shave
I
that
know.
far away.
I know. Don't be mad at
I
me.
tried to
Don't
ask
be
real
mad.
questions, and this is what happens all the time.
Come back to the seat. Go back to the seat. Come back to the seat. You're being so rude right now. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. I apologize. My bad. I'm sorry. If you get up again, I swear to God, I'm never gonna come back here. Okay? And I'm only in 3 scenes in the first season, but in the second season, I have a whole episode revolved around my character.
I know you tricks now, Bobby Lee. I know them.
God, those ankles are so appetizing.
Oh my God, that's got really.
I just want to. This is the weirdest morning show I've ever done.
We have room. I got my ankle bone kissed by Bobby Lee.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah,
Why are you
weird
looking at
stare.
me? Why are you staring at me?
Chrissy, he's staring.
Chrissy! Oh my gosh. In all the
Pathetic.
years that I've done interviews.
You smell pure.
Doesn't he smell so pure, guys?
my lord.
That's the magic of that
my
perfume, huh?
Lord, that's delicious. It's great.
She's leaving.
Warning, do not attempt to use his tactics to pick up women. Bobby Lee making it through the Me Too movement unscathed is incredible. It is pretty surprising because people have been done for less, but when you break it down, it makes more sense. Bobby is not an imposing or physically threatening guy. He's around 5'4" and doesn't take up a great deal of space, which contributes to him being viewed as harmless. He also has rounded, neotenous features that make him look younger than he really is. Take this and sprinkle some self-deprecating humor on top, and you have a guy who's really disarming. Just imagine if someone like Shane Gillis or Andrew Schultz did the same thing, diving to the floor with their 6-foot+ frames trying to nibble on a woman's ankles. They'd get absolutely dragged for it. The fact is, Bobby's able to get away with a lot more, despite the fact he was in his 40s during all of those clips. It's true though that times have changed. A lot of these videos were from around 10 years ago, and I think if he did some of that stuff today, he'd get a lot more heat for it. But with that being said, he still does his fair share of questionable things even now. In March 2024, Bobby and Andrew Santino had Bobby Althoff on their podcast, Bad Friends. This particular episode of the podcast was a difficult watch because Althoff wasn't giving them anything to work with. She acted uninterested throughout and didn't take part in any of the bits, which makes you wonder why she even went on the pod in the first place. It was awkward, but it got even more so around 35 minutes in when Bobby steered the conversation onto her feet.
I would love to see your feet.
Thank you.
Jiminy Crickets.
Jiminy Crickets, I fucked up.
Why would you say that out loud?
I was looking at her boots right now. I go, like the boots, but I'm like, what's underneath it? And I go, probably nice feet.
You're not saying that in a gross way, are you, bud?
Not in a sexual, no.
All right.
I don't find her sexually attractive.
This is weird. This is what you do to me. And I'm gonna leave here and tell people he was so
What?
weird.
You say Bobby was weird?
That's so
Yeah.
fucking, it's so really crazy because it's like, why can't you ask these questions?
You can.
Yeah, I'm curious about your feet.
Pathetic.
I'm sure they're lovely. And I'm curious to see the condition they're in.
Fetish or
That's all.
something?
I mean, Pete, am I wrong?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Do you have a foot fetish?
I might have one.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was a pretty weird conversation to be having, especially when it was just her in a room full of men. But Bobby doesn't have much of a filter.
And I just, I think that you're a good mom.
Thank you.
And I want to see your feet.
Probably the worst case of Bobby having no filter is a story he's told multiple times about a trip he took to Tijuana. Now, Bobby didn't get a lot of action growing up. He's admitted himself that he only started to get women when he got into stand-up. This meant that for a long time, he was willing to take whatever he could get. And this is the basis of the Tijuana story.
This is going to be a hard story to tell, man. I don't know if I can get around it. If I say this story, and you think, honestly, if you think this is going to ruin me, will you cut it out? Yes, I will.
He proceeded to tell the story, which took place around 1993, explaining that at the time he worked as a waiter at a restaurant.
All the waiters, we take our tip money and go to Adelita. You know what Adelita is? It's for a prostitute. It's a prostitute. It's a brothel in Tijuana.
At the back of Adelita, there was an alleyway where you could find yourself company for the night. And here, Bobby met someone.
There was a girl that she seemed scared.
Yeah.
That's the one I wanted. Oh. Because you have to now look at the context of it. I never get laid.
Right.
This is the only way I can get laid. And I look, and she looked like Natalie Portman.
What?
Yeah, but like in the professional.
So like 13
that young,
years
but,
old?
you know,
12
She
years
looked
old?
like she's 50.
I don't know how.
Let's not put a number on it.
She looked
Let's not put a number
I
on
don't know
it.
the number, and you know what? God, I didn't know the number, and you know that for a fact.
He took the girl to a dingy, rundown hotel where they got a cheap room for the night.
There's a crack in the window. Well, so the curtains is closed, but the moon is bright that night,
yeah.
right? So it's shining through this crack.
And is it the New Year or anything? Is it like the...
It's the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
Right. So the crack, and you see the light, it hits her face, and I look at her face, and she's crying.
Oh.
Snot bubbles the whole thing.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. So I feel bad. You know, I'm a good guy, right? I feel
Yeah.
bad. So I do what any good guy would do. I start power her.
Really?
Yeah.
You know it's bad.
What
So I
a
feel
pathetic
bad. You know,
devil.
I'm a good guy, right? I feel
Yeah.
bad. So I do what any good guy would do. I start power her.
What a devil. Nasty.
Really? Yeah.
You know it's bad when Theo Von is uncomfortable. Bobby told this story on Theo's podcast in 2020, which was around the 4th time he told it publicly. At the time,
Yeah, that's a good one. You know it's bad when Theo Von is uncomfortable because he's very humorous.
didn't get a huge amount of traction, and he didn't tell it again after that. However, in early 2023, numerous videos were uploaded to TikTok attempting to expose Bobby for his behavior. The clips went viral. I mean, some got millions of views. The story was getting so much attention that news channels like USA Today started running with it. Then Amazon's Wondery, a podcast company that had a long-term deal with Tiger Belly, terminated their deal with them. Reportedly, they cited a morals clause, using the Tijuana story as a reason to end their partnership. Following this, Tiger Belly released an episode of the podcast called Bobby Lee's Tijuana Story, where Bobby addressed the controversy head-on. He said that the story was born from two separate jokes that he merged together and was completely made up, and that now it's something he deeply regrets.
When I listen to it now, it puts a chill down my spine. It's terrible because I changed with society, right? And I look at that fucking
fuck outta here.
story and I feel guilt over it. It's fucking terrible. You know, it was stupid to say it as many times as I said it. I've never done any of that shit because I'm not a weird dude in that way.
He went on to explain that he understands why people are upset about it.
I understand the uproar. I understand, you know, why people, you know what I mean, are upset about it. I'm upset about it. And I punish myself over it. Every fucking second of every day, I go, you piece of shit, why did you tell that fucking story? What are you, fucking out of your mind? You're dumb, and you know what I mean? And it's constant, you know what I mean, internal dialogue. You know what I mean? It's like a fucking nightmare. And, but at the end of the day, the way I get out of it is I didn't do anything.
It's just not real.
It's not real, so I just always go back to like, it didn't happen, it's not real.
In a nutshell, he went on to say the whole thing was a joke gone wrong, and that he just didn't think it through.
I'm a comedian. I'm not Lex Friedman. I don't know anything.
After the podcast was released, one Reddit user posted a poll asking whether people thought the Tijuana story was real or fake, and the majority said it was real, although it was close. Bobby very well may have been telling the truth, but equally you can see how it would serve him to deny the story given the backlash. Another controversy Bobby got in recently was actually to do with another creator on YouTube. There's a popular commentary channel called Too Lazy to Try, who often post videos about comedians. In one video he posted in January 2024, he spoke about an episode of Bad Friends in which David Spade was the guest. Bobby had asked David to come on the pod as a favor, which he agreed to. However, Bobby cancelled on the original date they were supposed to shoot. Then on the new date, he showed up over an hour late and didn't even apologize.
I had no idea.
How could you not? We couldn't stop talking about this.
I forgot.
You scheduled this. You scheduled this. I drove here from Ojai at 7 at
Ohio.
No, Ojai.
It's insane.
Insane. Say hi to David.
Thanks for coming. I'm such a big fan.
Who canceled on me Friday and said, is there any way you can do it Monday? Is there any way? And I go, Bobby, for you, I'll do it Monday. I'll move everything around, 1:30. And you go, yeah, let me turn off my phone and all my...
So now he's been here for 44 minutes.
He's like,
well, guess what, though?
No,
I got time for one more question.
Apparently, Bobby was also unresponsive to David over text, despite being the one receiving the favor.
Do you always have a guest, or you just...
No, we've had Bobby in my lifetime, maybe 6 guests.
We don't do a lot of guests. We usually do just...
Oh, is that why it was...
Dude, we've been wanting you for so long.
But is that why it was such a colossal fucking hassle to have me come on? I used to call him, I go, he goes, can you come on when I see him in real life? And then I hit him the next day, hey, where are you, like Wednesday through Friday? Anything next week? Nothing, crickets. Like 2 weeks later, oh yeah, I can't do it then. I'm like, right. Yeah. Okay, but when you go, okay, well, let's do it for sure, definitely. And then I go, all right, what about when I'm back from the road? And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Spade and Santino kept calling him out for his tardiness for the rest of the pod, and at points it got pretty awkward. Too Lazy broke the situation down in his video, explaining that of the two hosts, Santino is the professional one, while Bobby is quite the opposite.
I mean, running in there an hour late with your nails painted, it's like, dude, get your priorities straight, get your shit together. You know, you have time to paint your nails, but you can't just set a reminder on your phone, or you can't set an alarm or set 2 alarms. Instead, you're busy painting your nails. And then, of course, him showing up late is everybody else's fault. He can't just take responsibility for it.
Too Lazy didn't let Bobby off the hook, just like Santino and Spade didn't, but the difference is he got punished for it. Bad Friends filed a copyright takedown on his video, leaving him with a strike on his channel. 3 of these and YouTube terminates your channel, and for someone like Too Lazy to Try, who appears to do this for a living, this would have been devastating. They flagged the entire video, even though only segments of it included clips from Bad Friends. And even then, for the clips Too Lazy did use from their podcast, he transformed them by adding his own commentary and analysis. Comics, including Bobby Lee, always complain about censorship and how they should be able to speak freely about things without getting shut down. Bobby said this when asking Bobby Altoff about her feeds, and he felt the same way about the Tijuana story before he got all the backlash. Yet here, when the tables were turned, Bobby and Bad Friends attempted to silence an independent creator. Viewers weren't happy, and they swarmed the comment section of Bad Friends' David Spade episode, saying things like, why did he strike Too Lazy's video on you? It was fair use. I can't believe they copyright striked Too Lazy to Try over his video about this episode. It's sad when comedians try to censor criticism. Their efforts clearly had an effect, because soon after, Too Lazy made a community post saying this: Bad Friends released a claim on my video and removed the strike from my channel. I appreciate everyone who commented and helped bring attention to the situation. I don't think it would have happened without everyone's help, so thanks. I'll also give credit to Bad Friends for going back on it. This brings us on to the George Janko situation. Bobby's November 2022 appearance on the Impulsive podcast changed the course of that show forever. As we know, George ended up walking out, and recently, he alleged that this was because he was sexually harassed by Bobby, but parts were edited out. If we look back at the podcast to see what they did include, George's claims really aren't all that hard to believe.
You know, here's the thing, is I'm single now, and I've been fucking, you wanna smell my dick?
One of us in this room will.
Yeah, smell my dick, because I have no cologne here, but I spray the fuck on my dick.
What?
Maybe, Mike, you wanna smell?
I would.
No, you are.
Crude.
No, you are.
No question.
But I'm not gonna pull it out. I'm gonna just do the underwear.
Question.
It would be him. It would be George.
Yeah, George.
It would.
Yeah.
After this, Bobby proceeded to take off his trousers and pressure George to sniff his dick.
No, smell. You gotta smell it.
I just wafted.
Dude, dude, this is not gay. It's podcasting. It's for entertainment.
It's material.
And in improv, you never disagree. You always agree. Because yes and you ruin the fucking moment if you don't do it. So you're gonna fucking smell my dick, and it's not gay.
You just hate to be George in that situation, with a man pressuring you to smell his dick while using comedy and improv as a justification. Logan and Mike clearly wanted no part of it, and George was forced to take one for the team.
Yeah, it's okay. I have to grab your head.
No.
It smells good. It smells good.
It's not even funny.
He's right. It smells like
It's
does it really?
disgusting.
Like
It's
what?
stupid.
It smelled like he sprayed it like 2 days ago.
He's 50 years old.
At this point, the situation was already bad
Rotten
enough for
piece of
George,
shit.
but then later in the pod, Bobby completely zoned him out by turning his back to him, though apparently he would still reach back to grope him.
He started the episode putting his balls in my face. I let that one go. Then every 2 seconds, he kept grabbing my dick. I don't think, how would you feel if a man that has his back completely towards you, that only turns around to grab your dick, talk shit to your face, and you can't smack or beat the living brakes off of this guy?
You gotta feel for George. I don't think it's all that surprising that he walked out, especially given we didn't even see the worst of it. Since this episode, a lot's changed in that George no longer works on Impulsive, and he now has a successful podcast of his own. And on May 30th, 2024, Bobby Lee came on his show. Very early on, they addressed the elephant in the room, with Bobby apologizing for his behavior on that Impulsive podcast. However, he didn't come across as very sincere, and actually claimed not to remember touching George at all.
And the third thing is that, and I truly don't remember, and it is on brand, but I don't remember ever trying to touch you. But if I did that, I literally don't remember, but if I did that, I'm sorry. I do it for comedy reasons.
There are a million different ways to be funny without inappropriately touching people or invading their personal space. But as we've seen, and as he just said, this is part of Bobby Lee's brand. He went on to say he's sorry to George, but it sounded like he was only there saying that because George had become a big deal, not because he truly meant it.
I don't know anything about your religion or who you are. In fact, I didn't really know I know who you are now, but I didn't really know who you were, and but you know, with all that being said, I really truly apologize. I mean, I love people. I love podcasting, and I think that you're a voice that people talk about now, and you know what I mean. You're here, and I just apologize.
George accepted the apology and they moved on. But later in the pod, Bobby also claimed not to remember making George smell his dick.
Let me smell your armpits right now.
No, not right now. That's weird.
Yeah, but shoving your balls and making me smell that isn't weird.
I didn't do that.
You did in the very beginning of the podcast.
Where?
On Impulsive.
I don't remember.
With Jake.
What a
Yeah, it was
fucking
just
liar.
for comedy, dude.
It seems comedy is always the reasoning Bobby gives for this behavior, and somehow it works. But I can imagine he'd get himself into a lot of trouble if he did this with the wrong person. We'll see if he continues like this or dials things back, given the flack he's been getting.
Well, yeah, that's quite disgusting. I have no respect for him. Check out this YouTube channel. Tell us more. This is a video we just watched.
Bobby Lee has been coming under a lot of fire recently, and it's hard to argue with some of the things being said about him. He's being called everything from creepy to disgusting
Check out my
as
channel. Like, share, subscribe. Tell me what you want me to watch and react to. What else should I say? What else should I say? Yeah, I guess that's it. Just comment, do something, help me out, share the video. I'm tired of being a zero on YouTube. Be nice to make that YouTube money and change the course of our future. Peace. God bless.